Welcome to my home. Southern entertaining is a fun thing to do. Today's no exception. I'm going to have an impromptu dinner party this evening. Some guests are coming by. We're going to make flower arrangements to set the mood, appetizers, and a full course meal, including a Southern favorite, the biscuit. So sit back and relax and enjoy this episode of Through the Window. And we have company. Come in. Welcome.
You actually want us to come in?
Yes. Well,
hello. I brought you a bottle of wine dressed in a little Chinese outfit for my Chinese.
We're going to let Annabelle get settled here in a second so she won't make her. We're going to get started. I don't know if you're going to do housework or not, but you're about to make flower arrangements. So you guys can just come on in here and help do some decorating. All right. So either of you guys ever made a flower arrangement before?
I have once.
You have once? How'd it turn out?
Well, it's hard to say. I didn't have any money when I was in high school, and a friend of mine was in the hospital, so I went to a cemetery and took a bunch of flowers.
Oh,
it was
that's an interesting
already made.
Dandelions don't.
I bought these at the discount stand at the Publix grocery store. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take a couple of different size vases, because you know you're going to have flowers when you entertain, and we're going to make these up for our little appetizer area in a minute.
Or when you're in trouble.
Or when you're in trouble, and that might come in handy for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a couple of flowers each to start with. These are called hydrangeas, and they make a really good base for the thing. And Rip, why don't I have you come over in the center, and then you guys can. And I have scissors, and I have some really bad pruners here. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to clean these up a little bit. Okay, so you want to just get rid of these bottom leaves. And these are a little droopy now, but they'll come back. And the one thing you want to do is cut your flower at an angle, so that it gets a nice little drink of water. Of course, those don't work very well, so we'll go back to the scissors here. You may have to share tools. And we're going to just kind of get this in close to the bottom so it'll sort of make the base. So what we'll do is we'll just cut that off a little bit more. That's going to give us a little something to start with. Now, if you want to make it interesting, you see in this vase here, I've got a little bit of shells in there. Or if you want to open up that little container there, there's some marbles in there.
That one?
Yeah. So why don't you just take a little handful of marbles and put those in the bottom of your vase. You can start doing that too.
Which, the shell base or the other one?
In this one, or this one, either one, whichever. This will be yours.
Okay, perfect.
So now you're helping him out by putting his
bigger one, yeah, that
one.
There you go. So see, look at how they're sharing. They're each helping each other do their thing. Okay. So you're just going to clean the rest of that up.
Why do we pull the leaves off?
Well, because you're going to need the extra room for one thing, and the other pieces that you want to be able to make. You can take that. That's fine. You want to make sure that the flower starts to drink, and they're kind of getting. These are discount flowers, right? So they're getting a little wilty.
So I need to make this
so
maybe
you
a
want
little,
to make it, yeah,
a little taller than that?
Yeah, we're going to make that the bottom part. So just you can make it a little bit taller, but you really just want to make sort of a little ball there with that. And Keith, you want to try and use little trimmers and share the scissors. Share the scissors.
I failed at making it taller.
Well, that's okay, because we're so look. Okay, so look, now you're good to go, right? Okay, so we're going to let Keith catch up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some roses, and again, see these are some that are just not in the greatest shape. So we're just going to trim that up a little bit, clean off some of these dead leaves off the bottom.
Whenever, if I did have to do this, it's the thought that's going to count.
It is the thought that's going to count. So look at your height. So you want this to come in just a little bit taller. So you want to take off just a little bit, make that, maybe poke it right down through the center there.
Just a little bit taller.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go through the middle there. There you go. There you go. Look, see, it's beautiful already.
Great.
Okay, let's make one a little bit taller. So we'll give you this one, and that can be your tallest piece in between. So again, you're going to measure.
That one's a nice looking one.
Yeah. Don't go too short because you still want your.
Yep.
That's good. Now go in the center there again.
You don't take the leaves off of it?
Well, you can, yeah.
There was only 3 steps.
That's okay.
I just forgot and messed up 2 of them.
You can't kill the flower. You have to sort of go through. There you go. You're doing good. Gentle. Okay, let's let.
Mine's better than Keith's already.
It is better than Keith's already because you're ahead of him. You want this whole one?
That was
okay,
a
once you take that,
work.
you can do some things. I'll clean up a little trash here. Okay. We'll give him another rose to work with, and while he's catching up, let's do something maybe to fill around the bottom of that, some of the little smaller ones. Here's a little trick for you with carnations. You see these all the time, right?
Yep.
See how that's closed up? Watch this little trick. You just roll that between your fingers and open it up, and it opens right up.
It's just like...
It's magic.
Yeah, it's like magic. All right. Just pet it.
Yeah, there you go. So now, like, you can just clean these few little things off here, and then maybe give yourself a little bit more height this time.
Just with the coronations,
Yeah.
not
So,
with the
good thing to do is you want to cut at the angle. Don't take too much off of that one. Maybe let's put that one there. I'm gonna let you do it. I'm guiding you. Look, you're magic.
Usually,
Perfect.
whenever I get flower arrangements from bottom, they have those little tiny white flowers in there. They don't have to have those. The baby's breast
Oh
or
no,
whatever.
you don't have to have baby's
Baby's
breast or
breath.
baby's breath. Either one. Preferably baby's breath, not baby's breath. That breast might be something a little bit different. Okay, so now we're gonna let Keith catch up here a little bit more too. So look, no, I'm giving you those real. So look here, if you'll take those and just cut them into little individual pieces, and you can
Okay,
you're
right.
just
Go
gonna
around
cut
the
those
bottom.
into just get little individuals, and you're gonna pack those around the bottom and give you a little definition there. Keith, there's yours. Now you might want to have a little bit of let's give you a stem of these carnations to work with, so you have a little height in yours too. Okay.
This is not as hard as I thought.
See, you're a master.
Is that for me?
Yeah, that's for you.
Wow, guys, I'm impressed.
There's a
There
competition
you go.
going on here.
Yeah,
You're doing a good job.
excellent.
This stuff is called salao. It's kind of a filler. You'll find greenery in your
Like
flowers.
the baby's breath,
Br-
sort of.
Yeah, it's
breath,
not. This is not.
but not white.
Yeah, this is something completely different. Though.
I like
and
that better.
and I call it salad because it's salad. You can't stand it, but it's really salad. So I'm gonna help you out with this. This
Please.
little filler.
That's so good.
See, that's looking pretty there, right? Let me back up in a little high again. So let's see what you got. Maybe have another something tall in there. How about if we give you another spray of these roses?
Yeah, I like that.
And yeah, if you'll just cut a fresh cut on the bottom, just leave it, and then just put it right back in there, and that's going to give you a nice little.
Chrissy, come up and look what the guys are doing.
Oh my.
I bet you didn't.
And guess
ever
what?
think Rick could
I'm
do
not even going to
something
make you
like that.
gay by doing this. You're just going to be able to do. Look,
It's not going to wear off on it?
it's not. Okay, and so that looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
Should
mine's
I
way
leave
better
the
than Keith's.
little almost bloom on?
You
Will
can
it
leave
open
a
at some
little,
point?
that little almost bloom probably won't open, but it's a nice little piece of something live. You can get a little piece of greenery down
It's
there.
kind of sticking out a lot higher than
I
anything
can tell
over
which
here.
one had Jeff's color.
Yeah. Exactly.
Keith looks like he's making like a wedding bouquet.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay
It's
too.
very precise.
How about if we have something tall, like right up in that little piece there?
Let's do it.
Y'all are master florists. Now we've gotten this one was broken. What's the back side look? Here, just turn around and look.
I tried to make
How
it.
about we fill in with that there? Boom, look, you got a nice little piece
I like
there.
that one.
So now, here's what we'll do. We're going to pass this to you on the other side of the window, and you can take it in there and sit it on that little table.
That's great.
You have to go that way, you're
Excuse
caught. You're trapped.
I want some of this.
Okay, you can have
Let's get
some
out
of
of his
that.
way so he can get his
He's still going.
masterpiece.
Now look, here
Place
again,
it
we're gonna-
properly.
Yeah, well, I got the.
See what happens when we just pass things.
Right on the hors d'oeuvre.
And there's no right way or wrong way to do this. And look, you got little marbles in the bottom, and that's colorful and fun. And if you'll just sit that in the middle of that table in there,
Thank you.
We'll bring and put Keith's
Wonderful.
flowers in.
Nice.
And look again, same thing with the big flower. Remember how it opens up in the middle?
Now I know you could do it.
So in reality, what happens when you're doing something like this is you have a big old mess, just like I have here in this sink, and so we're just going to roll the trash can over and get rid of all of those things. The thing that I thought was really funny about this today as I was getting ready for you guys to come over is that, you know, on television shows it's magic, you know, and they edit everything out. You don't see the frantic running around with the vacuum cleaner and the carrying the groceries in the house. But those are all parts of the elements
Throwing
too.
leaves in the garbage can.
Throwing leaves in the garbage can, and now you see that part. And when we finish this up, we'll move on to our next piece, which will be making some snacks. So, when you're entertaining, you have to have things that are on hand, and you try and just take a few things out of the refrigerator, and we're going to make a little appetizer just with things that we have on hand. Everybody knows the block of cheese with the pepper sauce over the top of it. I'm going to do something similar to that. My good friend Beth makes this fabulous hot pepper jelly. And instead of just putting the block of cheese on, we're going to do something a little bit differently. Shelly, you want to come on this side, and then I'm going to show you how to pipe this on here. So instead of just making a regular block of cheese, we're going to make it a little bit fancier. We're just going to pipe this around. It's a little cold still, so it's difficult. And I'll tell you what, if you want to reach in that drawer there and grab a spoon out of that top drawer and open this jelly, we'll be ready to do that here in just a second. I'll finish piping this on here. So this is going to just add a little bit of dimension to the plate, so it's not just your regular, plain old block of cream cheese. And you know, people are afraid to use the pastry bag. I use these disposable bags just because they're easy and you can clean them up and throw them away, and it's no big deal. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to swirl the cream cheese in the center. We'll keep twisting this and squeezing and swirling until we have a great big mound there in the center. And there you go. And then what we'll do is we'll just take that jelly. You want to do this part? Sure. What we'll do is just take that and you're going to spoon that over the top and let it sort of fill those crevices a little bit. Mix it up a little bit and get some of the good stuff in the bottom. This is a really thin kind of a thing. It's not a thick jelly like we're accustomed to. And just drizzle that, and you just drizzle it over the top of it.
Is that good?
And you can, yeah, that looks great. But you want to add a little bit more. You want to be, pretty generous with it.
Okay.
And we'll try and sort of keep it inside the middle section there so the outside stays pretty. Yeah, that's looking nice.
Is that good?
Let's do a couple more big spoons
Okay.
full. Don't be afraid of it.
I'm scared of it.
That's where the flavor is. It's a little jalapeno jelly, so there's a big jalapeno in that one. That looks good.
And just keep it towards the middle.
Just put another couple of spoons full.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you get some around the edge. See, that's fine. And I'm going to grab something else while we're at it, just to give it a
Okay.
little extra.
I'll do one more. Or you think that's enough?
Give it one more, just right in the center. Lovely, that's perfect. Okay, so now, just to dress it up a little bit more, I'm going to use my very favorite seasoning, Mrs. Dash. Hopefully they'll give me a big promo for that. We're just going to drizzle that over the top just to give a little extra color. And we're going to hit it with some parsley flakes. Give it a little more color. And then what we'll do is, let me grab a knife over here, I was looking for like a butter knife or a serving knife. We'll just, look, it's entertaining at home. We're just going to use a plain old kitchen knife. That'll be fine. We'll put this in the edge of this, and we're going to add some crackers to it. Okay. Here, you want this one? So look, here's what we'll do. We'll put some crackers around the edge of this plate.
Give me help.
Sure.
All of these different ones?
Yeah, let's put 3 or 4 of those different ones on there, and we'll use some more of these in just a minute for the cheese and the other stuff that we're putting together. Let's do a couple of these big square ones. And hey, you know what? If we run out, we've always got saltines. Nothing wrong with that. And if you'll go through the window, I'll pass this through, and you can serve the guests. So nothing fancy, but tasty. And when we finish this, we're going to start on a little appetizer of some other meats and fruits and cheeses. Thank you, Shelley. So, we have some meat and some cheese and some fruit. These are all things that we just have on hand. So Shelley and I are going to put together a little appetizer tray to go with the thing that we just took out to the folks. So we're going to start with some of the cheese. And Shelley, you want to grab a stack of cheese there? And what we'll do is we'll just make a little layer and lay these one on top of the other. And then it gives us a nice little flow into the center. I think what we're going to do is leave this open and maybe put some olives. You want to do this side? Okay, so let's start from over here and work our way back so we're going to paint it. Here we go. You're an artist. I'm going to touch and adjust, but that's just my way, you know.
I love it. Make it more beautiful.
Perfect. Okay, so then we'll do some with this. We'll get us another little color, and we'll fan some of this back here. So these are pretty big pieces of cheese, but we could cut these in half or whatever. Since we're just sort of doing something quickly. Okay. And then let's hold on that one for a minute. We'll come back to that. We'll do some meat. So I'm going to do a little layer of ham slices around the center. See, this is great. Good. But look, you don't have to do anything fancy. This is just plain food that we took out of the refrigerator, stuff that was on hand.
And I usually do have this cheese.
Right, exactly. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down with another layer of the salami pieces. It's all that perfection, trying to make it be exactly like you want it.
I wouldn't think to do this, but now it's so pretty, and I want that plate back now.
This is a plate Shelley gave me as a Christmas present, I believe, and I use it frequently, actually. One of the fun things about entertaining at home is you never know when I'm going to take a mirror off the wall or a picture down and turn that into a serving platter. So, let's see. Let's go in and we're going to put some olives down here on the bottom of this. I'm just going to roll these out in my hand. It'll good drain. And look, we'll just put a little olives. There's some over there. A little pile of olives here.
Okay, first of all, he didn't start cackling, sure.
No, Hank and Richard.
There we go. Mix that a little spicy. And then I think what we'll do is we'll come up with this cheese. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into some lengths. So we get a little bit of variety in the cuts. And then we'll just start to layer these along this way.
Just see what's going to happen. He got home and I said,
Should have probably done this before I put the olives down, but you know it's all hit and miss.
I'm like, I'm waiting to hear what happens. So everybody knew they came the very next morning. And they had the Fight Club.
Then just starting to add an extra layer. It's kind of a little bit sticky.
Rules for Fight Club. First rule.
So you can hear everybody else is in there talking. They're talking about Fight Club and doing all kinds of other whatever they're doing. That's how it works around here. You never know what the dialogue's going to be.
I'm going to show up at the next party and make this. Everybody will think you know.
They'll think you're a star. Okay, so now maybe a little something to add in there. I think what I'll do, even though this is sort of like a tart thing, I'm just going to add a little bit of color and throw a couple of strawberries on here. We'll give you a little sweet and savory going together. I think we'll take a little handful of raspberries, put up in this corner. So we'll get that little sweet and savory thing going on. And then what we'll do is we'll take a handful of grapes here. And I think easily to cut these is just a pair of scissors and just place those there. I'm losing a couple. Just like real life, that's how it works.
It's really good. You made something beautiful.
And then I think let's take some of these red grapes and put them in there. We'll just cut off a little piece of those. And perhaps I'll just lay those right there. And there you have a nice little meat and cheese tray. And Shelley, if you'll go through the window, I'll take this to you. And
I'm gonna go grab it and pretend like I made it and take it.
That's perfect. And then what we'll do, the next thing we'll do is we'll just put a little extra fruit together.
I always
this.
remember him being a know-all.
Are y'all impressed?
Yes, I'll be happy to eat all of that.
See? I know, I'm studying you eat white cheese. Yeah, he ate all that, I'm sure.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble a little salad course. Now, there's going to be pretty heavy food later, so we're just going to make this light. Folks have had appetizers, they've had a little bit to drink now. So we're just going to make some miniature salads. And I've got these little ramekins. We've already put the greens in them, and Chrissy's going to help me. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit of onion, a little bit of cucumber, some tomatoes, a little green peas, and some onion. So I'm going to show you, Chrissy, how I'm going to sort of put this one together first, and then you can just jump in here and help me, and we'll finish these all off. So it's just going to give it a little bit of color, a little bit of levels. We use our hands because that's what you do in the South. So look, what's wrong with that? Not a thing. Cute little salad. Boom.
I love peas and salads.
And then, I do too. And so then what we're going to do is I've got these nice little plates. We're going to put it on a coaster. And then we'll put those in the window. And then when folks get ready to come and have their salad, they'll be ready to eat.
Brilliant.
So let's join in. We'll both. I'll give you some. We'll put it in the middle. How about that?
Deal.
Build away. No particular way to do it. I don't think that's right or wrong.
Okay, good.
Mix it up. We're just going to have lots of little color here. That's the main thing.
Can I make mine without the onion?
You can make it however you want. You know what? We should have probably asked people, but I'm just going to put it on there and then
They can pick around.
Yeah, there you go. That's what my thought was. And let's put it on a plate. There you go. And we'll just build them up across the wall there.
Perfect.
Perfect. And this way, it's just enough salad, and it's not so much that people get filled up on the salad course. And we're good to go. You coming to join us? Come on,
Yeah,
you can
come
come.
on in.
We're just building little baby salads for everybody.
He gave me the easy task.
Just get a little bit of different colors and things.
Wow.
Look, she's a pro.
Amazing.
Any special requests?
I like all of it.
And of course, we got some of those olives in there if people want to have some olive on it or something later
I
on.
have the peas. I love 4.
I do too. I'm a big pea lover. Okay. We're about to fill our whole window up, aren't we?
Yes.
So this is kind of fun. Everything's just sort of chopped. There you go.
There we go.
Everything's just kind of chopped up. Mix it up a little bit, give it a little flavor. We'll put one in the whole cucumber on that one. I think we have extra anyway, so I think we're good to go. A couple of tomatoes.
Should I bring some of the hors d'oeuvre plates in here? So
Sure, we can do that. We'll make a little place for people to go to the next thing. I'm going to just sit these two down here. And we'll finish up this last one.
All right. Yeah,
And
you
look,
better
it's okay. It took 2 seconds to make a cute little salad that people will enjoy, and it's just a nice little salad bite.
I know, pop of color.
And we'll
is
add a
nice.
fork to it, and then people can come and pick it up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make biscuits. Now the dinner's sort of already in the oven. We're roasting some chicken. We're going to have some green beans and some rice, and we're going to make gravy to go with our biscuits and rice. So the next thing is to make the biscuit. Now, 3 important components: white lily flour only. It's winter white flour. It's milled. It's the perfect combination to make a biscuit. Crisco, it's your friend. Don't use something else. Crisco and buttermilk. I'm not so picky on the brand with that. Now, most people when they make biscuits, they do little fancy things like use cutters and whatever. You know what? I learned to cut biscuits out with a old can that belonged to my grandmother. So we're going to use a glass today. I'll tell you that making biscuits is not probably an exact science, but maybe should be, as most baking is. But once you learn to do these for a while, it's really pretty much you just know how to do it. So we're going to use about 2 cups of flour, and I'm just going to pour it through this. And I'm not a big sifter, but you know it's probably best if you do sift.
So you don't measure this in a measuring cup?
I don't,
You just
but
kind of eyeball
you
it?
can. I eyeball it just because I kind of know what I'm going to do with it.
Okay.
So we're just going to sift this, and this is going to get all the little lumps out. And we're going to end up with about 2 cups of flour in the end. And when we do that, then we're going to add our shortening to this. And people use cutters and things to put it in here. You know, we're just home folks here. We're going to do it the non-professional way. I think I made a little cloud of smoke there. So we're going to add about a quarter of a cup of shortening to this. And this is roughly 2.5 cups of flour right here. So we're going to guess on the shortening too. And you can see that's a big dollop there. That's probably close to a quarter. We're going to give about that much again because you want them to be shortening in there. So that's that with the shortening part. So easy so far, right? Yes? Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the flour and the shortening together.
Do you fold it?
This is just cutting it in a little bit. We're just going to make it in a well in the middle.
You're
And
just
we're
using an ordinary
I'm just
fork?
using a fork. You can use a cutter or a pie crust maker or whatever. But basically, you just want this to kind of blend in with the flour and get kind of lumpy. You know, it's a little, like till it comes in a little pea size. Sort of almost like if you were making pasta or something like that. So you're just cutting that in. Okay. So you just break it into little pieces. And those are going to be sort of divided throughout the dough as we do it. And I'm going to start to add the buttermilk. I'm just going to pour a little bit in the center to start with. And then we're going to start to bring that from the sides in. It'll start to thicken up. You'll start to get really pasty, kind of a stiff dough started there.
So you don't measure that exactly, you just sort of
No,
wait till
because
it's right
what you're wanting the
consistency?
consistency, that's it. And so we're going to just keep pouring a little bit more buttermilk. And what will happen eventually is all this will pull away from the side and we're going to get what will seem like a dough ball. You see how that's starting to form and make a dough ball?
Like a regular, like a bread dough ball?
Sort of the same process. The thing with this is, and I think the one mistake people make, that from my personal opinion, that doesn't make biscuits come out very well is when they over process the dough part of it. Once you start to, knead this a little bit, it releases all those glutens, and that makes your biscuit tough if you over knead it. So I want a really sort of a wet dough. As you can see, that's starting to pull away now.
So I can make it light and fluffy?
And so that's just about right. I'm going to add just a little bit more buttermilk. So we want it good and moist. Okay, now look, that's starting to be perfect. It's coming away from the edge of the bowl. So now we have this sort of thick dough, right? Okay. And so what we're going to do is, oh, and I've put this little sort of silk hat bakery mat out. It's just a little thing to roll on, keeps your counter clean. It's easy to scrape up, and you can wash this with soap and
Didn't
water.
stick to it.
And what we're going to do, we're going to put a little bit of flour on the mat, kind of just spread that around. Now, a lot of people who are really professionals, not like me, they use a dough roller. Now, I'm just going to tell you, my granny didn't use a dough roller, and I don't use a dough roller. And I think that what happens is, again, that makes your biscuit tough if you over process it. So look, we got this nice thick dough now, and I'm just going to roll that out into the middle of my pan, or my pad. Get all that so we can make sure we don't waste any. Okay. Let's use that spoon here to pull that off. Okay, so now we got our big pile of dough, right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more flour. I'm just going to put a little bit on top. And we don't care if there's some lumps in that, that's okay. We're just going to start to pull this together. And it's sticky. You want it to be sticky. And see, I'm just sort of flipping it very gently, making it into a really soft dough. A little extra flour in there, make it sort of start to pull together. Still, I'm not over kneading.
Does it do it tough if you do that?
I think if you knead it too much, it makes a tough biscuit. So this is, and you want to touch this and see what it feels like. That's about the consistency you want it to be. There you go.
It's like a pizza dough feel.
It's almost like a pizza dough feel. Now, here's the next piece. So we want to make sure that we don't get anything sticking to it. So I'm just going to flour a little bit more around on the pad. And you want to roll this out or pat it out to about 1/4 of an inch.
Where do you get things like this? Because this
I
kind of helps you
think
know how to measure.
Yeah, I got this. I think just at like Bed Bath and Beyond actually is where I think I got it. And it's just a thing I use to roll fondant with or that sort of thing. So look, I've made this as pretty. It's pretty thin at this point. Okay, I'm gonna just step over here and rinse
Kind
the
of
hands
what,
up.
1/2 inch?
Yeah, maybe not even, maybe 1/4 inch. And this is a messy process a little bit, so we'll just clean up that little part. Now, the next part is going to be prepping the biscuit for the oven. Now, the most important thing is you really want a hot oven for a biscuit to turn out. It's going to rise quickly, and you want it to brown on the bottom and brown on the top. Sometimes it almost browns a little bit too fast on the bottom, so what I do is I just turn the broiler on for a second and hit it with
So
broiler.
what temperature do you bake?
550.
550, oh wow.
Yeah, most people won't bake it that high, but I think it
Wow,
makes a
that's
better
really
biscuit.
high.
You want it to bake before it gets tough again. Okay, so I'm not using a cookie cutter. I'm not using a...
That's what my mom made.
Yeah, well, this is how folks make real biscuits, you know. And so you just start to cut, okay? And now these are not going to be particularly fat biscuits. Sometimes I roll them a little bit thin, a little bit thicker. You just go back to the flour each time, and
You ever freeze your biscuits?
you know what? I don't, because I think, you know, I mean, I guess somebody came up with canned biscuits along the line somewhere, and they're okay if you like a canned biscuit, but I like a homemade biscuit. They're just better when they're hot and fresh. So keep doing this. We're cutting them all out. And what we'll do is when I show you the next piece, we'll pull that back together and make some more. So, now I'm not using a fancy pan. I'm using kind of an old ugly pan, actually, because that's going to be best. Well, no, what we're going to do is we're going to use some butter. And what I've done is I've just melted about a half a stick of butter or so in the microwave. Normally I'll do this on the pan, but this is just easier. And then you're just going to flip these.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Okay, and then just put it right on the pan.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll use this butter in the end, what's left over. And you want to just put them about 3 across there.
They won't mash into each other?
Well, they will a little bit, but they're gonna fluff up and
You can pull
crispy.
them apart, no problem.
pull apart, no problems. Now, you know, you can use a really fancy air bake pan if you want to or whatever, but honestly, I think there's something about an old pan that's just sort of seasoned and ready to go that makes them work better. This one's kind of thin right here, but I like them like that. That'll be mine. It'll be kind of
Does that
crispy.
make them crispier?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you see, I've got a couple of different thicknesses here. And we just keep going. Now, one
So you
thing
don't put
you
any
can,
salt or anything in it? In the just the flour, the buttermilk, and the Crisco. That's it.
That's all you put in there.
And then the butter.
There are a lot of people when they make biscuits, they make them with leavening agents, and they start but the white lily flour has already got the leavening and everything in it, so you don't have to worry about like trying to add soda or salt or any of those things to make the biscuit. It's sort of a all in one ready to go. Okay, so we got this much left here. We're only gonna need a couple more biscuits to fit on the pan. I very seldom ever waste this, but for tonight's purpose, what I'll do is finish this up. Now I'm going to just knead it again and pull it back together, make a nice soft dough, pat it back out again. A little sticky there. And then we're going to this is how your mom makes them, you said? See? Does your mom make good biscuits?
She does.
So there you
They
go.
had no symmetry. They were just, kind of blew up.
Right, right.
Just made them
The big cat head biscuits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that is how we make a biscuit. And what we'll do is we'll put these in the oven and continue to finish up the rest of our dinner.
How
And
long
thanks
does it take to bake?
These are going to bake for about 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. I kind of keep an eye on them. Like I say, once they start to rise up and look done, I'll check the bottom of it just to make sure that they're they're good and even on the bottom. And then I actually sort of like to broil the top off just a little bit, just kind of taste
How
it.
can you tell if they're doughy in the middle?
Well, they're not going to be doughy because you're going to see the way they rise up and they'll bake off.
And they're
once you
thin
do-
enough? So
Yeah, you'll be able to tell. I mean, if it's done on the bottom, it's probably pretty much done through the center, and you'll see when they come out of the oven that they're just ready to go. Okay. So we lost Rebecca, but we're still in here. We're going to put these in the oven. About 10 to 12 minutes, they're going to come out nice and fluffy and looking great. So we'll pop those in there and let them go. And as that's happening, we'll finish the rest of our dinner.
50 degrees at the bottom of the biscuit.
Well, the biscuits are cooking in the oven, and it's being heated from the bottom. Okay, so that's going to set your temperature. It's preheated to 550. So the bottom may get done a little bit quicker than the top. They're going to bake all the way through, but then the top may still be a little bit white. So just to make sure they're nice and even, I'll just crisp them up on the top with a little bit of a broiler. Okay. We'll see how those come out to see the progress of our biscuits. Annabelle's going to join us today. So you see they're starting to rise.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we'll just give those a few more minutes and they'll be done. And then when they come out, what I'm going to do is brush the tops in a little bit. So there they are. Biscuits hot right out of the oven. I'm just going to give these a little bit of a brush with some butter. And I maybe could have rolled these out a little bit thicker, but you know what? I think they'll taste good and that should be fine. They're crispy on the outside and light and flaky inside. Should be quite yummy. These three on the end, they look the best. So I think they'll be good. I like that one right there. Because crispy bacon with it too, that's good. Crispy biscuit makes me happy. And there you have biscuits. This also needs a little bit of garlic and olive oil. Good blanched up nice. Good and al dente. This is going to be delicious. We're going to finish off our sauce here. I'm going to add a little bit of cream to this to thicken it up. Here you have a nice chicken gravy. Try to bake out of the track. That'll be delicious over our rice and our biscuits. Here we go. We're going to plate it up and serve. taste to make sure.
Anyway, the little thing, all that's kind of not really.
I don't advise doing this at home. This is really hot.
I try to get these things.
Or I guess you could do it at home. That's why we're doing it. Yummy. So, we've had fun today on Through the Window. We've made flower arrangements. We've done appetizers from things on hand out of the refrigerator. We've had a little salad. And now we're about to have dinner. Hope you'll join us next time on Through the Window. Everybody say hi and bye.
Salute.
Yes.
Adios.